right, everyone, we are going to get started on our first live roundtable interview. I'm very excited to host this tonight. We have three great individuals that we're going to include on our roundtable. But first of all, I'm Delana Truly with Benton Downs Photography, and we have Barry Benton and David Downs, the Benton and Downs of Benton Downs Photography, who will speak later in the conversation. What we wanted to do with these roundtables is to just really have the conversations about the photography that's happening with some of our alumni, as well as discussing some of the specific features of the monthly competition that we have on a quarterly basis. So this will be the first of four roundtables that we'll do. This is a little bit of a test because we're combining technologies. So I see a little bit of a delay in me speaking and the reaction, but we'll get through it. We do have three wonderful women with us tonight who will be featured on our roundtable, and they are the 2024 Photographers of the Year categories. And first, let me introduce Linda Medine. Linda Medine was our first place winner as the Photographer of the Year category. So Barry, I'm waiting for that to come up, and then we'll introduce Lana, and then we'll introduce Debbie. So let's start with Linda first. There you are. Linda, welcome. How are you?
Okay, great.
That's good. And Linda, you are calling in from where?
Baton Rouge, Louisiana.
All right. Go Baton Rouge.
It's pretty cold right here, but I'm sure a lot of y'all are feeling the cool weather.
We are. We're feeling it, and we're going to feel a lot more of it in the
Yeah,
Dallas-Fort Worth area very, very
I
soon.
know.
We're glad
Yeah,
glad you're here with us tonight,
thank
and I'm
you.
going to come back to you, and we're going to get our roundtable started in just a minute. But first, let's introduce Lana Robinson. Hello, Lana.
Hi,
You're coming in from where?
Memphis, Tennessee.
Memphis, Tennessee. Very good. We're glad to have you. Both Lana and Linda and Debbie have all been under the weather a little bit in the last few days, so they're going to be protecting themselves from too much talking. I'm going to try and moderate between them two. So, Lana, we're really, really glad that you're here. And you are the 2024 Photographer of the Year in second place. And congratulations to you on that.
Thank you.
All right, let's go on to our third participant in the roundtable, and that is Debbie Richards. Debbie, you live in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, but you're never in the Dallas-Fort Worth area because you travel so much for your work. Where are you tonight?
I am in Las Vegas, Nevada.
All right, are you feeling lucky?
Yeah, not really.
Not really. No, she's feeling puny, so we won't ask that. All right. Well, what I'd love to do is really get started with the conversation, and we're going to just start really about the full body of work from these three individuals and how much they have really contributed to the alumni competition itself, and what a tight race it was between these three, and they're already making bets about how tight it'll be in 2025. So the rest of us have to really step up there. Congratulations. The body of work that the three of you did was just exemplary, and something to inspire all of us and aspire for all of us as well. So I'm going to start with you, Linda. How do you feel about the competition itself and how it impacted your 2024 photography journey overall?
Well, I enjoyed the competition. When you work hard and plan, judges start to like your work, or you get some positive feedback. It gives me some confidence in my work, and it makes me feel like maybe I'm on the right track. So, yes, that's having the judges judge really helps me out during the competition. I think I continue to gain momentum as the year went on.
I heard a rumor, Linda, that you also won Photographer of the Year in your local photo club competition.
I sure did. I
Well,
did.
congratulations. That's
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah,
That's
thank you.
really awesome. Well,
Yeah.
I don't know. That's kind of a hard 1-2 punch to beat. So
Yeah.
congratulations. That's awesome.
Yeah.
So, Debbie, let me ask you, how has competition helped you? I think this, at one point, you told me that this was really the only group that you compete with and are
It
fully
is.
engaged
It's
with.
hard to participate in a local one because I travel so much for work. So I appreciate the opportunity to do this with the Benton Downs Alumni Group. And the people that I've met on the workshops have been great to work with, and I enjoy seeing everyone's work. That alone inspires me to get out there and try and do more and do different things.
That's good. So, how do you think the competition itself has impacted you overall?
I think I can see my growth. I when I'm taking photos now, I'm always thinking about what contest is coming up, and how could I best present this? I like the change of the format to the printcompetition.com. That's allowed me to go in and look at people's work from all over and the different ways things are presented. Photos that are maybe similar to something that I've taken, but how is it presented in a different manner? And I think that's really helping me grow, both as a photographer and just an artist in general.
Very good. Thank you. Thank you. Now, Lana, I'm going to switch to you, and I know that you are very heavily engaged in the Memphis Photo Club, the Memphis area photo club as well. Is that true?
Yes, I'm president of the Memphis Camera Club this year.
Well, there
So
you go.
yeah,
You're very
pretty
engaged then.
involved.
So, how has participating in the Benton Downs photography group, alumni group, and the competition impacted you as a photographer, along with the other areas that you're involved with?
But it's been a lot of fun. I like competition. It makes me um better myself, try to push harder. But at the same time, it's challenging just trying to figure out which image to submit, And when I'm taking photographs now, it's like, I'm like, Debbie, where's this going to fit during the year? Which competition will it work better in? And just getting that feedback from the judges has just been invaluable. But I think I
That's
work
good.
better under pressure. So it's that pressure of I've got to get it in there. I've got to submit something.
That's great. That's great. Well, Lynn, I'm going to stick with you for a minute and switch questions on you. So, what did you learn this year from the judges' critiques that really helped you grow? Was there a specific tip or two that you learned in the judges' critiques?
Um, I think it helped me to look at my work more objectively, and to look for more of their storytelling in my work. In our local camera club, I don't think they're looking for the story in it as much as technical. But in Benton Downs, that it's it's opened my eyes to that the photo needs to tell a story, and so I'm learning to look for that and to be more objective about my work is the other thing, I think.
Were you surprised by anything this year in terms of what you heard on critiques?
um I don't know, surprised. Oh, I'm so sorry. I don't know, surprised. Probably just learning more about crop and presentation. That was the big thing. The presentation has been a new thing for me.
Okay.
Um, so
Thank you, Lena. Linda, let's go to you. So, what about the judges' critiques, the tips and stuff that you pulled out from this year?
Well, Lana and I were talking a little bit a couple of days ago, and one thing that I think that helps me is that when I look at an image that I've taken, and if I think, oh, this is looks a little oversaturated, or this part of the image is too wide, or something just doesn't look right. Sometimes I may just let it go. But with the critiques, it's like I know the judges are going to see that. I see it, so I know the judges are going to see it. So if I see it, I need to change it. And that has helped me along the way because before, um, it's like they're not going to see that. I mean, I barely see it, you know. Excuse me. So anyway, that's what I've learned to do.
Okay. Yeah, and that makes perfect sense. It's like you're paying a lot more attention to the technical side. So that's good.
Mhm.
Debbie, what about you? Anything you were surprised at during the year? Any critique elements that really helped you grow?
Well, I agree with both what Linda and Lana said, as far as that. But for me, probably the biggest thing is definitely the looking at my own photos objectively and other photos. I go through, as people start submitting photos in, I go on and I look and I see what other people are doing, and I'm starting to think, I think, like the judges are. I look at something and go, oh, well, what if they tried this? And it helps me learn things that I might use myself in the future. So I think it's helping me look at not only my own work, but others' work more objectively.
Yeah, thank you. That makes sense, and it resonates very well, I think, with most of our alumni after this year. Exactly. So to kind of wrap this section up, and we've got a lot of different sections. And by the way, for those of y'all calling in, if you have any questions, just type them in the chat, and we'll pause every once in a while and see if there's any questions to go. But I kind of want to know, what do awards and recognition mean to you personally from a photographer's standpoint? Linda, let's start with you.
Well, I think that the awards and to being recognized, it gives me confidence in my photography. Um, I like the picture. I like the thoughts I had behind it and the planning. But when someone else steps up and says, "Yes, I like that. I like the way, you know, you process this image. I like the feeling it gives me." When that is confirmed by an award or a number above 80, it really it makes me want to do more and do better and learn more. It continues to draw, you know, to drive me.
That's great. Thank you, Linda. Lana, what about you? What do the awards and recognition mean to you?
Was like Linda, it validates to myself my efforts as a photographer, and maybe shows that maybe I have a little bit of talent going on, and it motivates me to continue to strive for excellence. That's been a key word throughout my working world is striving for excellence, and I think that that recognition strives me now. I need to do a little bit better. I need to strive to be a little more.
That's great. Thank you, Lana. And Debbie, what about you? Awards and
Um,
recognition.
Again, I echo what both Len and Linda say. It definitely makes me feel proud. I'm more confident in what I do, and it also, I think, helps me want to take some more chances, maybe try some different things or present things in a different way. And it gives me the confidence to do that.
That's great. That is really good. We appreciate all of you discussing that topic. What we're going to do now is we're going to move on to the next topic. And the next topic is about looking forward, 2025 competition. So this, what's on the screen, you can't read, but this is a reminder that we have the all the topics available to you. They're in files on our Facebook page, and I've sent it through email quite a bit. And you can always reach out if you don't have a copy of this, but it shows the overall year ahead. But let's just talk a little bit about thinking ahead on the competition. And when we were kind of getting on early and warming up, we started razzing each other a little bit about, okay, now it's really going to be tough. There's two categories, the advanced category and the intermediate category. And the good news is there's fewer people in the advanced category. And the bad news is you're going to be held to a higher expectation. So as we look forward to the 2025 competition, there's a lot of good photographers in this group. I mean, there's three on the screen right now. How do you want to distinguish yourself again in 2025? And Debbie, I'm going to start with you.
Okay. First off, my goal is to participate every month,
Good.
to put something up there, but that also challenges me to put something up there that's, worthy to be there with the group and the peers that I'm working with in the group. And so I start, like I've got the list downloaded, it's on my phone. I travel a lot for work, so I'm going, okay, I'm going to be here in August. Maybe I could do something like this, or this is a quarterly challenge, and where am I going to be, and what, so I'm constantly thinking about the different topics and where I'm going to be and what I might enter. So I start out with a little bit of an idea. Sometimes it's just pure luck. I'm in the right place at the right time and I catch something and
Mm-hmm.
it moves me. And that's the photo that I end up wanting to share. So, but I am thinking about it, and that's part of the competition. It's got me thinking about it all the time.
That's really good. That's really good. Lana, what about you? How do you want to distinguish yourself from the other great photographers? And then she kind of went into the second question I was going to ask anyway, which is, how do you plan ahead? So just answer those questions for me.
Well, it's going to be really hard with these photographers that I'm up against. I mean, they're amazing. They're just amazing. But I'm going to try to do my best. And I don't always plan images. A lot of times it's kind of like last minute and see what it develops as I'm photographing or looking for images. But I definitely want to. Hopefully, my skills have improved and will improve during the year. Um, that and the storytelling is going to come to the surface more for that. And then, like I said, the planning. I just whatever I plan for. If I plan for something during the year, it's ended up not being what I thought it was going to be. The
Okay.
image turns out to be totally different than what I had planned. So I'm going to try to plan more. I'm so proud of Debbie for having that list and planning. It's encouraged me now that maybe I need to get a plan started on that. But yeah, just like I said, I'm kind of a last minute fly by, find here's something, I'll shoot, kind of person. So now I'm going to have to be more deliberate.
Well, it's worked for you so far, so maybe you don't have to over deliberate on it. Linda, what about you? How do you
Well,
want to
first,
distinguish yourself, and how
well,
how do you plan for it?
well, first of all, I want to say yes, I do think that we do have a lot of uh, excellent photographers in the alumni, and it does take planning, and I do plan. I'm a lot like Debbie as far as like have the list down. I have it taped to the wall, and I have my 12 elements here. So that's another thing that I'd like this year um to take the PP of A 12 elements and work on that, and trying to see as many elements as I can get into an image. Um and and try to make my pictures unique, something that other photographers are not taking pictures of at this time. So try to set myself aside um, in to make images that you're not seeing a lot in competition. Um, so when a judge does see it or a viewer looks at it, it'll be something new. That's my goal this year is to try to think outside the box.
That's
Um,
really good. That's really good. And
make it
I'm gonna,
stand and to tell a story too, among all that.
yeah. And several of you have talked about the storytelling and the impact. And so I'm gonna get inside of brain of David Downs for just a second, if I can stay there for a second. And what you have said is, the storytelling is a big factor of it. The impact of the image is a big factor of it. The technical aspects are a big factor of it. So the fact that you've brought up the 12 elements of PPA merit image, which is also available to all of you. We have shared it before, but we can certainly share it some more. That's really, really good. And then David has really worked hard, not only because he's going through the full deep certification process to become a certified juror for PPA competitions. But that's the type of judges that he's reaching out to. Those are the ones that we've had and that we will continue to have in 2025, is those who are going know those elements very well, who are judging other areas, other competitions and stuff like that. So I think that's going to lift all boats, and that we're going to see a lot of good things come from that. So thank you for mentioning that. That was really solid. David, I'll leave your head now. All right. So when you think about 2025 and you look at that list on your wall, Linda, which competition or which month are you the most excited about?
I'm really excited about the slow motion. I love the outdoors. I love the water. I'm not as good as I'd like to be with the filters. Um, so it's just going to make a good trip to plan a trip and use those type of elements to make a good image with this smooth, or the was it slow water or something? What is it?
It's a long exposure.
Long exposures. Yeah,
long exposure.
I'm looking forward to that.
That's good. That's good. Lana, what are you looking forward to and why?
Well, I don't know. There's so many good ones. It's just kind of be hard to pick. I love negative space, so maybe the negative space one will be.
That's good. That's good. Very good. And Debbie, what about you?
Well, I find myself drawn more and more to street photography.
No.
And so that one is really getting me excited, and I'm hoping it's gonna, during my travels, I'll have some opportunities to hit some different places that maybe people don't always get to see. Because, I'm in Las Vegas right now, and that's a fun place, but next week I'm gonna be in Duluth, Minnesota. So, who knows?
Well, next week it could be like everybody bundled up and walking in the snow.
That's right.
Well, that's good. That's good. Well, the nice thing is that with so many different topics to choose or to try and achieve, you're going to either fall in love with a lot more, or you're going to say, please don't use that one again, whatever you do. Well, good. So talk to me a little bit first about your encouragement for anyone who did not participate in 2024, or maybe only entered a month or two, came late to the scene. Start with you, Debbie. What would be your encouragement to compete? Why should they get engaged in this?
Having the different categories gives us a goal to go out and shoot. And I think as a photographer, with everybody says, take your camera with you everywhere you go, you're always never know when that shot's going to come up. I think the competition really pushes us towards getting out and just shooting more. Whether you have a trip planned or not, walking around the neighborhood, going to your local parks. One of the shots that placed for me last year, I happened to be in a state park looking over the edge of a bridge, and I liked the way the ice and the water were sitting beside each other. I think it gives you an opportunity to get you out to shoot. And we're all in here because we love it. I think whether you like competition or not, it just at least gets you out to shoot.
That's good. Thank you, Debbie. That's awesome. Lana, what about you? What's your encouragement?
My encouragement, and Debbie said this early, is to submit every month. Whether you think you have a good image or not. There were a couple months that I just didn't think I had a good image. In fact, the day before deadline, I didn't even have an image. And so I went outside and shot something, and it ended up winning first place. I mean, who knew? But so you never know. But to definitely submit and put yourself out there, and then that makes you start thinking about what you're going to submit and how you're going to photograph, and getting those critiques in is, I just think, are really valuable. That's the most valuable thing I've ever gotten.
That's great. Thank you, Lana. Linda, what about you? What are your thoughts on this?
Well, a lot of times I say it myself, I just don't have enough time. But I think we make time to do the things we really want to do. And I know there's a lot of passionate photographers listening in right now. And it helps you to stay involved and to set some goals and to make those goals. And you reap what you sow. And I think you'll get twice as much out of the effort you put into it. I think you get twice as much out of it. I know I've made a lot of friends. I've been to places because the way that the themes are, I use the two clubs I do belong to. The themes are, you can always go to your archive. So I never have to get out of my home. So this makes me get out and do things and be more creative. It's really worth it. I mean, and the critiques, like Lana said, that's gold to me.
That's great. Thank you, Linda. Thank you, ladies. We're going to switch topics again, but let's see. I don't see any questions in the chat, and that's fine. We're going to move forward on this, but I just wanted to. I pulled up the chat and I don't see anything right now. Okay, so we're going to switch to talking about the 2025 monthly competitions, and the very first one out of the gate that you can start submitting on January 19th is your best of 2024. And that window is going to be from January 19th to February 2nd, and then we'll have the judging date on February 5th. So, ladies, my question to you is, you can't enter all these fabulous photos that you entered in 2024. So when you go back and look, how are you going to choose your best of 2024 if you haven't already? If you have already chosen, then how did you make that decision? Linda, let's start with you.
Well, what I do is whenever this is one trick for myself is to say when I'm trying to pick a picture, an image to put in competition, I don't just put one. I have a folder for every month. So during the month, I may put a picture for June, and we're in January. So I may have 6 or 7 pictures in there. That's not the one. These are my archive images, but I may have 5 or 6 images in that folder. I'll go through that folder now and say, well, I didn't put that one in competition, so let me relook at these images. So that's how I do it. It's kind of like it's what's eye-catching, what tells a story, what has impact. So I already have some pictures in mind to put in competition. I think I have one already, but it's that's how I do it.
Well, while we're with you, let me ask the next question, then I'll ask both of them next. So when you go back and pick that photo, are you going to look at re-editing it, or do you feel like it's done?
No, I probably will. I probably will re-edit it because I've had some separation from it for a while, and I may look at it and what I've learned during the year. If I pick something, that's was in February or March or something, I may, have learned something better or more or how to improve it. So yes, I will.
That's great. Thank you, Linda. Alana, what about you? How do you go about this process, choosing your best of 2024?
Well, I'll go through the images minus what I'd already submitted, and I'm like Linda, I have a folder and I'll start throwing the images that I think are the best in that folder. And then I call my sister and I send her the images and say, okay, here are the 6 to 10 images. What do you think? And she's objective because she's not married to it.
Mm-hmm.
She's not the one that birthed that baby. So
Mm-hmm.
she can look at it and be much more critical and objective about it. So she'll pick out her 4 or 5 and then we'll talk about it and then I'll go back and pick out the best one I think. But yeah, I use my sister.
Nice. I need to borrow her.
Yeah. The sisters will tell you like it is.
That's awesome. And will you re-edit it once you kind of pick the first one or two? Will you re-edit it or relook at it?
Yeah, I'll go back and relook at it again, especially depending on what she says. If she says no, that light it's too bright, I can't, whatever, I may go back and make some edits from her comments and then look at it again and check the crops and stuff on it. So yeah, I would definitely do that. I didn't know if you meant re-edit like after they'd critiqued and then go back and re-edit an image from like
Yep.
the critiques. I've done that too. I've gone back and taken their
Good.
comments from the critiques and re-edited or looked at it. Like one month they suggested a different crop. So I went back in and did the crop, sent it to my sister to look at it. She said, that's weird. That doesn't make sense. And I knew that that wasn't the right crop. But so I will do that also on those edits, on the
Okay.
critiques we get previously.
That's good, and that's a good reminder to all of us to take those critiques and make immediate changes, and then when you look at it again, look at it with a fresh pair of eyes. That's good.
And that also, I think, helped with future edits and future images.
That's good. So, Debbie, what about you? How do you go about this process?
It sounds like we have a fairly similar process. I set up a folder for each category for the year. I spent some time through the holidays going back through thousands
Pause
of
for just a minute, Debbie. Barry, we're on Debbie now, but we're not seeing it. I don't know if it's delayed or not, but I just wanted to maybe catch up with Debbie so we can see her. Maybe frozen or something. Debbie, why don't you go ahead? Because I don't want to delay you.
So, I'll go back through my photos. I go back through photos that I didn't submit last year. I go back through photos that I took years ago. My first instinct is something that impacts me. Okay, I can't remember if it was Lana or Linda said that, they haven't looked at them in a while. So when you go back and you revisit it, does it still have that same impact that it had on me the first time? And I definitely re-edit. I re-edit based on critique that I received throughout the year. I re-edit based on new techniques that I've learned. I'm constantly playing around in Photoshop, and I watch a lot of YouTube videos and that kind of stuff and try different things. So I am always looking at it in another way, and then what's the best way that I can present it, and what's the most impact that I can get out of it. It doesn't always work, but I'm pretty sure I have my image picked out for this year. But I have about 6 that I have in a folder, and I go back and I run through them and I go, okay, yep, it's still that one. And then probably right up until the 19th or the 20th, I'll be looking at them more times and go and make a final decision. And I also run them past I have 4 sisters and a brother, and we're in a group text, and they're all retired. And so I'll shoot them images and say, which ones do you guys like? And I kind of take a poll. And then sometimes I go with what they go with, but most of the time I go with what my original gut was.
Man, I need to get in on this siblings action. That's cool. Very cool. Okay. And so let me pose this question. And Debbie, I'll start with you and we'll go backwards. If you could enter one image from 2024 that we've already seen, which would it be?
If I could re-enter one from 2020?
Yeah.
Well, I only took first place with one, so it would have to be my Nature's Palette abstract.
Yeah, that's an amazing photo. Love that.
Thank
and
you.
There's an interesting story behind that. Weren't you in like a supermarket or something?
Yeah, I was actually in a parking lot, and I was in Arizona and driving around and trying to think of different abstract, and I was playing around with intentional motion also.
Okay.
Or intentional camera movement. And so I was driving around and I saw this really cool cactus. I don't even know what it is. It's some type of cactus plant, and was playing around with it. And then when I got it into post-process, I started to adjust the curves. And the more I pushed the curves, the more color came out in it. So the plant itself, the greens that are in it are what the normal color is that we see with our eye. But the colors that came out were because I pushed those curves almost all the way to the right. And it brought out oranges and blues and yellows. And it really, really surprised me that I didn't add any of that color. It was basically in the curves adjustment.
Wow.
That out. So
wow. Great story. Great story.
it's fun to play around with stuff like that and have the opportunity to have some categories like that to let you explore a little bit.
Good, good. Lana, what about you? Which one would you put in again if you could resubmit any photo that you already have?
Well, I want to say probably one of my first place, but honestly, it would be Sparks Lane at Cades Cove, only because it's one of my favorite images. Just that early morning softness in there, and if I could re-edit a little bit, make some changes or something. But that image, I just love that image. It just is one of my most favorite, and I have it printed in my room.
That's cool. And sometimes it is just about the one that you connect with the best overall.
But if I wanted to win first place, I might enter another one. With a different judge, it might do better. You never know.
You never know. You never know. And Linda, which one would you put in?
I would put the cowboy or the cowgirl with the dust in the sun, and it just I just love that. I just love fog and dust and the muteness of it, but still action and the colors. I love the colors too.
And that was the first month, and I still recall. I still recall the judge Hector Reyes when we were doing the final deliberation and him picking judge's choice. He goes, "I just love that braid. Love that flying braid, the horse."
Yeah, a lot of detail. You can see the fringes on her pants, and stuff like that. I like that.
Yeah. That's really cool. That's really, really cool. So we do have a question now. Our friend Randy, he says, you're covering some of this now, but talk about when you do it. When do you shoot? When do you carry a camera? Because Randy's problem is he always wants to shoot photos and have good photos to show and enter in contests, but then he ends up going, wishing I did. He developed his first photos in a family darkroom in 1945. He is now living a great life and has continued to. He shot thousands of photos, storytelling, et cetera. But he always wished he had shot some photos and stuff. So all of you talked a little bit about what you want to do and what you would do. But I think what he's really asking is, how much are you involved that you don't miss those opportunities too much?
Well, I think it's the planning part. Sometimes, and I know people don't really, I can almost see the picture before I take it.
No, that's good.
And I'll go places with people like a field trip, and it's like we went on two different trips. What I saw and what the other person saw is completely different. So it's like it's what's in you. It's what you see. It's the way you see it.
That's
The
really good.
composition. It's hard to explain, but I do plan a lot, especially for competition. I mean, I was a wedding photographer for like 35 years. I shot film. 35. I had Hasselblad equipment, and now I'm doing it for fun. Now I'm doing it.
Yeah.
I mean, I do what y'all are doing now, going to the PP of A and PP of LA, which would be in Louisiana. I did that and taking weddings on Friday, Saturday, Sunday, sometimes 4 weddings a weekend. But I was also a banker by trade. So I had the right brain, left brain type thing going on. But anyway, I do plan, and competition just makes me plan better and be more creative.
Yeah, I agree. Lena, any thoughts around that? Trying not to miss the best opportunity?
Well, I tend, especially in the winter, I don't get out and shoot a lot. Like I'm gonna have to make a really effort, next month in February to get out and shoot something. But I have my cell phone with me all the time, so I always have a camera. So when I'm out and about, so if something strikes me, then I'll just shoot it with my cell phone. A couple months ago in our local camera club, I won first place for an iPhone shot of a iguana. I mean, who would have thought, But so you always have a camera with you, Mary. I mean, what's this?
Good point.
Sorry, Randy. You always have a camera with you, so you can always shoot. But it's like Linda's making that intention to go out and shoot, and I'm like him. I'll sit here and 2 weeks ago by and I hadn't shot anything. So
Yeah.
I'm not a good one to answer, I guess.
And that's a good point. That's a good point. Most of us always have a camera with us. I know Larry's on tonight, and his first place put me in coach was iPhone photography, and it was awesome. You got to know what to do with it after that, because we all have friends who don't know what to do, and the horizons are not straight, and and everything else is bad. So it's always important to not only take the iPhone photo if you're going to do it that way, but you have to then put a little effort into it. So that's really a good reminder. Debbie, any additional thoughts on your part?
Just, for me, I get to travel for my work, so that gives me an opportunity to get out a little bit more. Although, sometimes it's just as hard to get out of my hotel room as it is to get out of my house. And especially if it's a place that I haven't gone before, and depending on how tight my schedule is, I may go in early. Like I came into Las Vegas today, but I came in on an early morning flight, so I had the day to go spend on the Strip and do some street photography and kind of scratch that itch a little bit. But again, as Lana said, I've got my cell phone with me all the time. So if I'm not carrying my camera, I have thousands of photos on my phone,
Okay.
and I can't tell you how many are out airplane windows and of clouds and things like that. But you just gotta take them, whether it's your phone or your camera or whatever it is. You just have to take them.
That's a good point. You guys, that's awesome. And thank you, Randy, for the question. We're going to move on to our next element, which is February. February is fill the frame. And now this one's the monthly challenge. So and it's only 28 days. So we really have put the burden on you for this one. And what we're saying is that whatever that subject is, it needs to fill the frame. Doesn't necessarily mean that it has to be a macro per se, like kind of what this image is per se, but it does need to fill that frame, and it's going to be fun to do that. So when you look at fill the frame and think about what you might want to shoot, I'd like to hear from the four of you about what does it mean to you, and how are you going to approach that 28-day challenge. Linda, what do you think?
It's going to be hard because it's the whole frame is going to be your image. So to me, it's going to probably be a lot of shadows, a lot of contrast, possibly, or curves, something that's interesting, and do something with your composition. The darks and the lights, either be color or black and white. That's what I'd like to do with it, and try to play with that. But still, after that, and tell a story.
Yeah, that's really good. That's really good, and that's got me thinking about some different types of images as well. So that's good, Linda. Debbie, what about you? How are you going to approach this particular topic?
Yeah, this one I've been struggling over a little bit. I don't have much experience with macro, so I'm kind of thinking, well, maybe I want to do something macro, because that'll give me some more opportunity to work on that aspect of it. But this one I don't have a plan for yet, and I'm thinking that it's probably going to be one of those, I'm in the right place at the right time, and I see something that's interesting to me, and hopefully can make something that's interesting to present.
Okay, very good. Lana, what about you?
Well, it's kind of like the rest of them, I'm thinking it's going to be macro, something to fill the frame that's going to be edge to edge. And like Linda said, just it's going to have a lot of shadows, a lot of interest in it. When you take a subject and make it big, sometimes, you lose the context of where it is. So you've got to draw the eye to that image. And I have no idea what I'm going to do. It'll just have to happen next month.
Well, Lana, let me start with you on the next question, since you're already up front and center. Two parts to this. One is, are there any other resources that you use? Is there anything that you look at to inspire you for that kind of photo that you think filled the frame? What have others done? And then my second part of the question is, we're curious as to what you use to edit in, what kind of software you use. So
Yeah,
what's your
I'll Google,
inspiration and what's your editing package?
I'll Google something. I'll start Googling macros. I'll start Googling fill the frame, something to get my creative juices flowing, just something different, what catches my eye that I maybe can replicate or do something similar to. And the preferred editing, I use Lightroom probably 98% for all my general edits. And then I'll go into Photoshop for my local edits, for dodging and burning, removing distractions. And then I'll go back and forth between the two, depending on what that image needs. But the Lightroom for general edits, and then Photoshop for detailed stuff.
That's great. That's great. Thank you. Debbie, what about you? Where do you get your inspiration, ideas, and how do you like to edit?
Yeah, I watch a lot of YouTube videos. I follow several photographers, or I'll just put the subject in the search and try and get some information and see how other people are doing things. Sometimes that, as Lana said, sometimes I'll try and do something similar, but other times it'll just give me an idea for something to do. And I edit exclusively in Photoshop. I know next to nothing in Lightroom, which is why I'm signed up for David's beginner class on the 19th. But yeah, I started out in Photoshop years ago, and that's pretty much where I do everything.
Well, that's good. That's good. Well, it'll be a great class for you to merge those two elements as you want. Good. Linda, what about you? How do you get inspiration and how do you prefer to edit?
This is the first year I've been an alumni. So in the print competition, there's a lot of ideas there, and you already have the scores of what judges have already judged. So that's a good place to start in looking what the judges talked about and what they liked about the picture. So that to me is an inspiration. And during COVID, I spent a lot of time on free Zoom calls. I mean, people couldn't do enough on Zoom. So that inspired me a lot. And then sometimes like macro, I may look on just put macro in and get some ideas, from there. But I use Lightroom to organize my images, but I use Photoshop and Camera Raw, and I also use Nix. Bring it into Nix sometimes for black and whites, and the denoise and sharpening in Topaz. But I really like Camera Raw. That's where I do most of my work. It's in Camera Raw.
Okay. A lot of your fine tuning and adjustments are in Camera.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Very cool. Very cool. Well, you guys are doing phenomenal. I'm not seeing any questions right now. So let's move over to the third month of this quarter, which is March. It is a quarterly quest, and it is the opposite of fill the frame. It is negative space, and we heard Lana likes that particular one. So let's Lana, let's start with you since you like negative space. My question for you is, how do you think about negative space, that kind of an image? What kind of things come to your mind when you think about negative space?
Well, I absolutely love negative space. It's the absence that brings focus to the subject, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
To me, it gives the viewer space to breathe and relax before focusing on what you really want them to absorb.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like the viewer either looks around for what to see and finds the oh wow, or they're drawn straight to the subject because there's no distractions. If that kind of makes sense, that's kind of where I see it, and it can be anything, It can be, you know, a lone flower. It could be a landscape. It could be a person. I mean, there's lots of different ideas for a negative space, but you can't just throw blank space on an image. It
Mm-hmm.
has to fit the image, you know.
That's good.
Yeah, it
That's
just has
good.
to balance it out and add to it to make it a stronger image, not just have blank space.
Okay.
Yeah.
That makes a lot of sense for you. And while I've got you, it's a quarterly quest, so you could take it any time from now till the end of the March 31st. So does that impact in terms of how you plan for that?
No, it'll just
No.
have to happen.
It when the subject is ready, it will appear.
It'll be there.
Okay. All right. Good. Linda,
Or
what
I'll go
about
out in the
you?
backyard and find something. I don't know.
Linda, what about you in
Uh,
terms of negative space?
I like it. I like white from the negative space, like the picture you just showed. Um, I took a bird, a red bird with it was in the shade. So when I did get the correct settings, the background was white. So to me, that would be a perfect. It's the contrast of the white and the black. Um, the bird is small, the space is large, it's on a limb. So, and I like red. I mean, I'm seeing myself taking something red or somebody walking down the beach, a huge beach in a red dress or with an umbrella. And that's what I think about when I'm thinking about negative space.
Nice, nice, nice image, nice vision. And since you are a planner, we have concluded that you're already planning for this quarter, right? Anything
Oh yeah.
special around that planning?
Um,
Like making a
I,
trip to the beach?
Probably to the beach, or I like birds, so that would be birds,
Okay.
a bird doing something that a person would have. And if it's something like a bird, I mean, it could be a bird in the sky, but it has to be in, with detail and something that when the person looks at it, their imagination can run wild with it.
That's good. That's really good. All right, Debbie, let me ask you same question. What do you think about it?
I,
Negative space.
I think negative space works well in black and whites. And
Mhm.
as far as my planning for it, I'm traveling a lot in the north this quarter. Um, and there's going to be snow this year. So I'm kind of thinking in my mind that, something set in a snowy background might work. But it's more of a theory or an idea at this point versus something hard set. This is exactly what I want to take. I'll do a little driving around and see what it can do. But I think the light and the shadows play. I like Linda's I mention of red because I think red is immediately impactful and draws people in. And if you can find something red against white or snow, I'm just not sure yet. But I kind of have this vague concept of something that I'd like. So we'll see.
That's great. That's great. So, Debbie, while I've got you, when you think about the images that you just conjured up, the vision you just conjured, it feels like there might be some unique editing techniques that you'll have to employ. What comes to mind about
Maybe
some of
maybe
that?
some high key that
Mm-hmm.
depending on the white. You know, it's we all know how difficult it is to photograph snow. But so lending itself to maybe a high key image where you've got some impact with a color or a little bit of black and white in there, and the rest being high key image is kind of what I'm thinking, but um, and always some contrast and curves. I use curves quite a bit to adjust the contrast in my photo. So that those two things I think would be the first two things that I would go to negative space wise.
Okay, good. Lana, any thoughts come to mind for you in terms of how negative space, apart from some others, you might approach some of the editing?
No, I'm with Linda and Debbie. I'm thinking black and white or a strong color, something to bring
Okay.
your attention to the
Okay.
subject.
Okay. Very good. Linda, would you add anything?
The only thing I would add is just detail. Watch for the detail, and like Debbie was saying about the snow, because that is hard. Because judges will look for that if you don't have the whites, like it's real. It doesn't look like snow. It's not. So there is some challenges there. It all depends on what you take.
Okay. And David put into the chat a very good challenge for all of us to consider. I challenge you to use black as the negative space with a touch of light on a delicate object. Ooh, sounds interesting. Very nice. David, all right. That sounds like a cool challenge. All right, so we've just talked about the three quarters that we have for our 2025 competition to get us all kicked off. And so on our last major topic, I want to talk a little bit about our workshops. And the reason I wanted to do it with the three of you is because all three of you have signed up for at least one workshop already in 2025. And, we've got classes, and Debbie mentioned classes. We've got regular workshops. We've got some bigger adventure workshops. So let's just start with you, Debbie. Talk to us a little bit about what you've already signed up for and why, and what are you hoping to achieve in terms of learning and education overall this year?
Well, in the first quarter, I signed up for a couple of classes.
Okay.
I mentioned the Lightroom, beginner's Lightroom, because I see the usefulness of the tools there. I just really don't know how to use them at this point. I also signed up for the advanced Photoshop class because I'm always wanting to improve what I'm already doing. Workshop wise, my first workshop's in June. I signed up for both portions of the Big Bend Night Sky. Very intrigued by astrophotography, and a couple of years ago did the Big Bend workshop, and we got clouded out and never got to see the Milky Way. So I got my fingers crossed for that one, and went ahead and signed up for the full week so that it just 7 chances versus 3.
Very good. Very good.
And then my big workshop that I'm going to do in the fall is I'm going to do the Grand Teton Yellowstone workshop.
Very
And
nice.
really, really excited about that. I've visited Yellowstone before, and in Yellowstone I was with family and non-photographers, so I didn't get to spend as much time or be out when the light was good and do those kinds of things. And I've never visited Grand Teton, so I'm super excited just to get out there and see that country and see what I can take.
Yeah, I think you'll enjoy every moment of it. It's a very special trip, and I know David looks forward to it, leading it very well. That's great, Debbie. And Linda, I know you've signed up for one, at least, and you're looking to include, you're looking to expand your education overall. So just talk to us a little bit about what workshops do for you.
Well, first of all, you make a lot of friends. The leaders are very educated in their craft. So if you're not learning it from the leaders, you're going to learn it from the people you're around. The leaders do take you to places that they've already scouted. So they're going to take you places at the right time of the day, either early in the morning or late in the afternoon. And so it motivates you to stick with it, to stay with them, and to join a workshop. The Caddo Lake was outstanding. I can't say enough about that. It was beautiful. The accommodations were great. The people that ran the boats, the leaders. I give A+ stars, 5 stars, 10 stars. It was great. I'm going to do the Blue Bonnets in the end of March. I'm looking forward to that. And I've done Blue Bonnets twice before, and I want to do them again because I want to go with a leader and to go with Benton Downs and to learn more about macro photography. and go to some more new places in that area. I didn't do Fredericksburg. It was the high country or the hill country area.
Hill country. Mm-hmm.
So anyway, yes, yeah, I wouldn't go any other way. It's just so educational. I really enjoy it, and I think y'all do an excellent job.
Thank you. On behalf of Barry and David, I will say thank you. Lana, what about you? How do workshops help you, and what have you got planned in terms of increasing your education this year around that?
Well, the workshops get me to where I want to be at the right time, and then hopefully I can capture a great image. They've done their part, and it's on me to capture the image. That's what I look for in workshops, because I don't want to spend my time trying to find where I'm supposed to be in the dark and miss sunrise, because I'm out there driving around looking for it. So the workshops and their planning, David and Barry's planning ahead of time, it takes care of all that. So it just leaves me the opportunity just to shoot and try to catch an image. So I'm all for workshops. I try to get everybody to go on workshops. I've signed up for the Wine and Wildflowers in March with Delana, with you. And I'm bringing 3 friends from Memphis with me. And then Linda and I have traveled, 4 or 5 trips together, Linda. And then I've met some of the ladies from Texas, so that are going to be on the trip. So it's going to be like a reunion for me. This workshop, it's going to be a lot of fun, and I'm excited about it. Like Linda, the workshops, I've met so many friends that I've stayed in contact with, and that either on Facebook or through text will share images or share where we're going, what we're doing. Can we get another trip in together or something? For me, it's the camaraderie, it's the family aspect of it, making the new friends.
That's great. That's great. So my last question for all 3 of you is, what are your personal goals for 2025 around your photography journey? How do you want to be a year from now, somewhat that something you've achieved or something that you want to achieve? And let's just start with you, Linda. Oh, you're on mute. Oh, there you go. No, you're on mute.
Okay, I want to be the
There you go.
2025 Photographer of the Year.
Woohoo!
That's my goal.
Throw down the gauntlet.
So the other thing, I did get a new camera. I've got the Nikon, the Z8. So that's
Yay.
a big challenge there to use the camera till its capacity. I know how to use a camera, but I mean, I bought this camera because it's a lot of new functions, so I need to learn those. And so that's my goals. Those are two goals. If I can achieve those, I will fill my whole year up.
Well, that's great. Well, the good news
Yeah.
is we'll get you started on that Z8 learning
Okay.
deeper at the workshop in March. So that's great.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
Lana, what are your goals for 2025?
I think it's to be more observant with my composition, to make up stronger compositions, and to look harder for directional light. I tend to be a flat light shooter. A lot of my portraits and headshots and that kind of thing, they just fill the frame with the light. That's all they really want. They don't care about the shadows and the depths and the moody, sometimes. So it's to look more for directional light, especially in landscapes, and improve my storytelling. On top of, I have a list of editing things I want to learn too. But.
Yeah. And Lana and I are taking the CPP class together at the end of the month. So that's one of my goals. So I'm sure it's one of yours as well.
Yeah, that's the next one on the list.
Very good. Very good. Debbie, what about you? What are your goals for this year?
I'm hoping to be a challenge to both Linda and Lana and the rest of the group in the Photographer of the Year. But overall, in general, just, I'm not a professional on any level, and I just want to keep continuing to grow, being able to compete, being able to stand beside people that are professionals and have my work measure up somewhat to that. And as long as I can keep my excitement generated for it and be presenting images that get some recognition, I think that's going to keep driving me.
Very good, thank you. And Debbie, remind us what camera system do you use?
I use the Canon R6.
Okay, very good. And I know that the rest of us on the screen are all Nikon, as well as David, and Barry's the Sony, and so there's quite a bit of cross learning there.
Mm-hmm.
So I want to just kind of conclude by saying thank you, Linda, thank you, Lana, thank you, Debbie, not only for just getting on here and putting your hearts out there a little bit, but also just for your engagement and your contributions and your amazing photography. All three of you, I have thoroughly enjoyed getting to know in short times and longer times. And as I said in the beginning, you inspire me, and your talent and everything is something I aspire to. So I appreciate all three of you. I'm now going to ask Barry and David to join me and kind of make a few last comments about what we have ahead, and some encouraging words for everyone who's going to listen to this video in the future.
I want to say thanks to everybody that tuned in. This is a first time for us trying to do this. We felt like there would be some value. I got some takeaways from this. Delana said that you ladies inspire her, and 100%. Every single one of you inspire Barry and I. That's why we keep doing this, as we get our inspiration from watching you grow, watching you learn, seeing your images. And I know Debbie says, I'm not a professional in any sense of the word. Bullshit. You are phenomenal, girl. That's why your work sold. It's because you are a professional. And just me speaking, but I love the fact that you're all artists. I love the fact that you see things. One of you, Linda, you said, I think that, you go on a trip and no one else sees it the way you did. You saw it differently. And you also said that you can see the image before you take it. You see, and you're speaking my language. That's just, so I got you. So anyway, we love knowing all of you, having you come on our trips with us. And as someone said, it's like a reunion every time we get together. And yeah, thanks.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
I want to thank y'all too. I've never been involved with a workshop group like Benton Down. You give your whole hearts and souls into what y'all do, and it's well worth the time and the money. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Well, thank you.
Yes, I believe that too. Thank you.
And I'll have to agree with that too. I've been on several workshops with different people, but you guys, like Linda said, put your heart into it. And to have a forum where you would have a competition for your alumni and that you would provide critiques for us to learn from, I've never experienced that ever. Nobody's put that kind of time into it. So thank you.
Barry,
it is our pleasure.
No. Barry, anything you wanted to add?
I'm not sure. Do you hear me?
We can hear you. There may still be an echo. I can't tell.
Yeah, it's very, very odd. Well, I'll keep it short. Thank you so much. Thanks for Delana for putting this on. We can't do this without you all, and sincerely appreciate you so much. And look forward to shooting with you in 2025.
And the last thing I'll say is I'm excited to see that Delana and Lana are taking the CPP. What I'm going to be really excited about is when you guys start posting that you got a merit through PPA and you're working toward your, that's when I'm going to get really excited.
Uh-oh. Can't even let us get one challenge down before you challenge us another one.
Got to keep pushing.
That's it. All right.
Delana, wrap it up.
Thank you very much, everyone. We appreciate you, and we'll see you in a couple of months on another roundtable. And we will post this as a recording, and then there'll be more information soon. Appreciate all of you.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Good night.
Good night.
Thank you.